Hey guys, Theo de Blic here. Welcome to the season 6 of Theo de Blic's tutorial. Today we're going to talk about basic ground handling techniques with the new Mantle 7 Lite in S size. Today the idea being that we're not going to talk about forward launch, we're not going to talk about basic inflation techniques. We're really going to talk about basic ground handling techniques in order to improve your ground handling skills through fun exercises. Basically, when you guys ground handle on a field, what you always do is reverse launch, and what most people do is that you just reverse launch, take the glider above your head and put it back down, take it above your head, try to hold it together for as long as you can and then put it back down. It's incredibly boring, and I understand that no one wants to do it. But there are a lot of exercises you can do while ground handling in order to improve your skills and to have fun as well. Okay? First thing first, what we're gonna do is that when you ground handle and you want to have fun, it's always important to not take your brakes into your hand. Particularly if you are on a field, you are not on a takeoff, you have no chances of being blown away, of being lifted off. So what you want is to never really take your brakes into your hand, but to always inflate without the brakes and take them afterwards. So this is what it looks like. You unclip them, boom, both sides, okay? And then you just inflate, glider, you control with the brakes, control the brakes. Turn, you keep the brakes, get back on your brakes, alright? It's quite important because for the rest of the exercises, it will allow us to be a lot more precise. Okay? Why are we not taking the brakes into our hands when you are inflating? Because if you inflate with the brake into your hand, you will always break a little bit the glider. What you want is to be perfectly precise and to be able to inflate the glider really fast. The glider is coming back down. What you want to do is be able to take back the right A, okay, in order to re-inflate and boom. Okay, another thing that you might see me doing, I always release the A quite harshly. So basically I pull on the arm and I release, boom, the glider inflates. It's also quite useful when you are ground handling. The same, moving with the glider is also really important. So when you inflate, super important to go backwards, go forward, okay? Try to make big movement, long movements, all right? Another important thing for the rest of the exercises is to lower your center of gravity. If you are standing up like this and try to go forward, it's going to be really difficult. If you, instead, you just lower your center of gravity, all right, it's going to be way easier. And you make really slow movement with the feet in order to cover as much distances as possible with a lower center of gravity. So again, this is really important. When there is no wind, what you can do is try to take the risers a bit higher to really take the brakes. It helps you to inflate the glider. So you take the hay really high and pull and release. All right, it helps you inflate the glider. It's a good also exercise to practice when there is almost no wind. You always release hard and the glider shoots and inflates. Quite important. So you take your A, boom, the glider is falling. You take your A, slide really high, go backwards, release, and the glider is shooting. Alright, this is a good exercise when there is no wind. So this covers the basic principle of ground handling exercises. Now we are gonna go deeper into the subject and work on exercises on themselves. So useful exercises when it's really windy is a Cobra Launch. So what is a Cobra Launch? Basically the Cobra Launch is when you inflate the glider with only one riser, with only one part of the glider. The other part is completely loose and the glider will inflate from one tip, climb above your head from the side and stabilize above your head from the side, okay? This is a Cobra Launch. The Cobra Launch has the benefit that it's not lifting you as much as a normal reverse launch or as much as a forward launch. In order to perform a Cobra Launch, it's quite easy. What you have to do, first of all, you have to twist the right way. So in order to perform the Cobra Launch, I want to inflate first the right side, so I will twist to the left, okay? You have to remember this. If you first want to inflate the right side, you twist to the left in order for the right side to untwist you when it's inflating. Then what you do is you unclip the brakes on both sides. You don't need them, but you unclip them in order to be able to catch them better. Then you take your air riser in with the right hand and your brake in the left hand. Then you just inflate one side. One side inflate, okay? You control the inflation with the left brake. And on the glider is above your head, you take back your other brake and the glider arrives above your head. Alright? Let's do it again. So, again, you take right brake in the left hand, right air riser in the right hand. You go backwards, you pull, the glider inflates sideways, you control with the left brake, the glider arrives above your head, and then you control. Okay? It's quite easy. So one good ground handling exercises, aside from the Cobra Launch, is to be able to put the glider on the side, keep it there and bring it back up. Okay? So as I said, in order to do so, you inflate the glider, put it above your head, then you slightly put the glider, gently put the glider with the brake to the side. On the glider is on the side, you try to control how the glider is handling on the side with both brakes. If the glider is falling down, you release both brakes. Take the air riser with the right hand as for the Cobra Launch. Take with the left hand the right brake as for the Cobra Launch. Bring it back above your head and you can start again the exercise. Okay, let's try now. So we inflate, the glider inflates, it arrives above my head. Okay, so now I will put it back to the side. I put it to the side. Okay, and then if I want to bring it, I put a bit more brake to bring it above my head to the right side. If I want to put it back, I put some brake, the glider is going there, and then if the glider is falling, I just take the riser, pull it back up, and I go a bit backwards, the glider is coming back. Okay, I move to the center of the glider, and it's done. Alright, so you put the glider to the side, you control the glider with the inside brake, and you want to let it touch. If it doesn't touch, you put more brake. It touches, a bit more brake. You can move to the center of the glider, really important, and it's back on. Alright? Easy. So, another exercise which is closely related to kiting is, and to putting the glider on the side, is basically some precision flying with precision ground handling. Basically, we're gonna try to touch this helmet with the tip of the glider, slightly touch, and slightly brush the chair also with the tip of the glider. It's gonna be the same process. You are in a forward launch position, you rotate your hip a quarter to put the glider on the side. You put a little bit of brake, you can also put some weight shift in order to really put the glider on the side. You control with the brakes. As soon as the glider touches the helmet, you bring back the glider with the brake. If the glider does not come back by itself, you take your A, you bring back the glider with the A and the brake, and then you put it again above your head, and you turn to the other side, and you go to the chair and repeat the process in direction of the chair. Alright? Let's go. So we inflate the glider. Okay, you move towards it. You put yourself in a forward launch position. You place yourself to make the glider go down, trying to keep tension. Okay, so we put the glider down. We slightly brush the helmet, put the glider back up, and then we place ourselves for the chair. We put the glider down for the chair. Slowly, we slightly brush the chair, and then you put the glider back up with the A's. The glider is back above your head, and that's perfect. As you can see, every time when you put the glider down, if the glider has not a lot of pressure, the idea is always to bring it back with the A's. Boom, I brush the chair and I bring back the glider up with the A's. The more wind, the less you need the A's. Alright? Easy. So, the next exercise is kiting. What is kiting? Basically, kiting is when you put the glider on the side and use the momentum of the glider and the drag of the glider to move around your field. It's a really useful exercise, particularly if you want to reach a certain point on a takeoff, on a field, or even if you are flying at the dune in order to kite back up the dune. How to do kiting? Basically, in order to do kiting, you inflate the glider. Put it in a forward launch motion. Then again, you rotate your hip on the side you want to kite to. It puts you a quarter of twist. You put with the inside brake the glider to the direction you want to. And then you move with your body in a forward motion. So basically, if you want to go to a certain point, you basically move to this certain point, trying to always put pressure in the glider by putting a lot of weights on your back. Okay, a lot of weight with your butt on the back of your risers in order to keep the glider inflated, and you keep the motion forward. The faster you will run, the more energy the glider will have, or the faster the wind, the more energy the glider is going to have. When the glider is kiting, you are controlling the glider with both brakes. The inside brake puts the glider lower to the ground and drag it a bit more. The outside brake puts the glider a bit higher above your head, so you got less drag. The idea is that you also control with the body. If you want to slightly put the glider and keep more energy, you use less brake, but more body rotation. And on the opposite, if you want to have the glider more above your head, you put a bit less body rotation. All right? So let's try. We're gonna inflate. All right. I go towards the glider. Perfect. I put myself in a forward motion. We are gonna go to the right. So I put the glider on the right, and then I go.
I control with the outside and some inside. And I go. If it goes down, I try to accelerate to keep tension. To stop it, put some outside brake and put the glider back above your head.
And I can go to the other side. Okay, if the glider is too much above my head, it's not easy. So I can put it back a bit lower, and I go. I try to always aim to where I want to go. And I go to the other side. Yes. I put pressure on the glider, and I go.
Try to make long steps in order to maximize pressure on the risers and the power. Like that, you're a bit faster. And then you just put the glider
back above your head, and that's it. And we crossed the whole field already. So, another exercise to move along the field is to move with the wind. So basically, the wind is blowing in your back, the glider is inflating in your front. What we're gonna do is we're gonna inflate the glider until something like 60 degrees before it reaches the 90 degrees position above our head. And then we're gonna let it go down. Inflate it again, let it go down. And basically the glider is gonna drag us with the wind in order to reach or the position we want to go to. So what we do, we take the A's, the brakes, we take both A's in one hand, both brakes in one hand. We're gonna inflate, the glider inflates, we brake it to let it go down. Then as soon as it's going down, we release the brake, we inflate again, and every time the glider is going down, we move towards it, okay? Every time the glider is inflating, if there is not a lot of wind, we move backward a little bit to inflate. If there is a lot of wind, we move towards it, okay? The idea is that the more wind, the faster you move, but even with little wind, you can move quite efficiently with this technique, all right? So I have both A's, both brakes, I inflate, the glider is inflating, I go towards it, I brake it, the glider is going down, and I inflate again. I brake it, I let the glider go down, and I inflate again. And all the time I move towards it. The glider is coming towards me, I hold it, and I go towards it. Sometimes if it's windy enough, you don't even need the A. I hold it, just before it touches the ground, I put the A, and it brings me back. Okay? When you are inflating the glider, you can always control one riser or the other. You just make inflate this side first, I put this riser, this side after, the other riser. You can really direct which side you want to inflate using the right riser at the right moment. Okay? I just hold the glider in this position, it's dragging me to the field without any issues. Okay? Then I inflate, then I move towards it. Easy. So what you want on this next exercise is to make a social media worthy inflation. So in order to do so, what we can do is put the glider in a ball next to you. You put one foot on the glider, sorry Nova for that. You take one tip and you have both brakes in the end correctly, alright? Why you have both brakes? Because this is supposed to be an inflation for takeoff, so you always want to have both brakes in one hand while you're on takeoff. Then you put your tip into the wind the tip will inflate, the whole span of the glider is gonna inflate, and then you're gonna have to feel when the glider is fully inflated, all right? You're gonna have to feel when the glider has a lot of pressure. As soon as the glider has a lot of pressure, you release your foot from the glider and you release your hand from the glider as well, all right? In order for the glider to completely leave and open in front of you. It's an inflation technique that needs quite a lot of space and a lot of wind as well. One foot on the glider,
I let it inflate. I make it inflate a bit more. Okay, let it go. I pull the raise a little bit and I move towards it.
Final exercise is going to be to perform a throw and go. So I'm sure you all know what a throw and go is. The throw and go is where you have the glider in a ball in your hand. Throw it, the glider inflates, you catch the chute and then you can take off. Alright? The throw and go is obviously way easier to do on a small line glider, so like the Bantam or any speed wings, or on a small acro wings, rather than on a Mountain 7 which has really long lines. Basically, on a good throw and go, you should not have to move your body at any rate. You should be just able to stand still. Here are a few videos of throw and goes. But on a big glider like the Mountain, you might need to go backward a little bit when you throw the glider in order to put tension on the line. Okay? On a perfect throw and go, the glider should not touch the ground before it inflates. Again, on a big glider, it's a bit difficult to have the glider not touch the ground before inflation. Alright, so what we're going to do, you remember which side you are twisted for the reverse launch. You take your glider, you take your lines, boom, you take at the end, you take the lines as a normal one. Alright, you want to have a pretty nice ball where the A's are sticking out a bit. Alright, so you want to take the glider to have the A upwards. Perfect. You have to place it like this. Okay, make sure. Then you take all the lines in this hand, the hand that holds the glider, and then you're gonna go and take the A risers on the other hand. Alright? In order for when the glider is inflating to be able to help the glider inflate. Alright? So next step, put the glider in the wind, mount the ball to alright? And we can stop.
So I twist backwards to create some movement. I throw the glider, I move backwards, and I inflate with the A's and move towards it. Alright?
Easy. So that's it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned a lot of stuff, and thank you so much to Nova and to the Mountain 7 for allowing me to do this tutorial. Have fun practicing, send me your videos on social media. Bye bye!